Public executions took place on Tower Hill, just outside the boundaries of the Tower, and they were a very popular form of entertainment for centuries.
Let's take the kids to the execution, the Londoners would say, and they'd get up early to get a good seat on the stands which had specially been erected.
Not content to merely remain spectators, the burgeoning crowds often take an active part in the proceedings.
The common people would surge forward after the execution with handkerchiefs and scraps of cloth and try to dip them in the victim's blood so that they would have souvenirs which were considered efficacious against certain ailments and something that they would keep as a memento. People weren't very squeamish at all in those days.
The manner of death depends more on the condemned's social position than on the severity of their crime. The poor are hanged, while the rich face the more genteel fate of beheading.
The aristocrats were entitled to being executed by cold steel. This was the nearest thing to being killed in action in battle by an enemy sword, whereas your ordinary prisoners just had the hempen rope. We were very class-conscious in those days, no doubt about it.
Though reserved for aristocrats, beheading is far from a civilized death. Multiple strokes are often required to sever the condemned's head.
The axe was an appallingly inaccurate weapon, but remember that it wasn't a merciful era. You were there to be punished. So why should you have a quick and clean end if you tried to overthrow the throne? Literally, you got all that was coming to you. You really got it in the neck.
The most horrific sentence that a Tower prisoner can receive is reserved for those convicted of treason. It is called the 4 horrors of the traitor's death.
And that meant that you were drawn on a hurdle from where you'd been imprisoned to the place of execution, and then you were hanged until you were half dead, cut down, revived with vinegar.
Your stomach was slit open with the ripping knife. You were castrated as a symbolic way of ensuring that you could never have children who could have such treacherous thoughts as you had had. Your bowels and entrails were pulled out and thrown on the fire which was burning by the scaffold. Then you were beheaded, your head placed on London Bridge, and your body cut into quarters, and they were sent to the various cities where you had lived and probably plotted against the sovereign, and they were displayed on the city gates as deterrents.